Grace and peace, family. Grace and peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Ma'at hotep. Namaste. Free the land, beloved. Come on in, come on in, come on in. My name is Vicky Dillard, and I'm a very proud contributor right here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com, the network for melanated women just like you. Shout out to our brothers that's holding us down always. We're so pleased that you have joined us here in these United States of America and around the world. I am so excited about what we're getting ready to talk about today. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into this most important subject. This is a part 2 from yesterday. Are y'all hearing me today? We're getting ready to engage in a part 2 from yesterday's amazing show concerning the guest that Nick Cannon interviewed. The very guest who rebuked Nick, the very guest who slandered the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the very guest who spoke so in such a condescending manner, the very guest that is responsible for Black destruction. I'll explain more as we move forward. We're exposing, we're unmasking today. So just get ready. Part 2. Somebody say part 2. Now watch this, a little bit of housekeeping. As you come in, please come in giving us the thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share. We are so thankful and pleased that the Vicky Show with FlyNubianQueenTV.com is aired on several networks. If you happen to be watching us on one of our other platforms, please come in liking, sharing, subscribing, following. Just begin to engage, family. It's so important because when you do those things, you are informing other folk about Black media, thus elevating and strengthening our unified voice. Also, I want you to keep in mind that throughout the show, you're going to see some very important links in the comment section on FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Please pay close attention to those and be sure to utilize those at another time. Shout out to our moderators that's in the digital building, our chief moderators and others that's in the digital building. They keep us organized. They keep important information before the public. Shout out to you, Derek, for the first financial investment in Black media today. I bless your gift 1,000-fold. Derek, you said, I love you back. Thank you so very much, family. Again, thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like and share and know that today, family, I am starting again my mastermind class. Of course, I've been doing it, but the mastermind class today, question and answers. I'm going to be dropping a couple of metaphysical, spiritual jewels for you today. ClubVicky.com, ClubVicky.com, ClubVicky.com. Family, put in the chat if you would where you're from, where you're viewing us from today. Shout out to my dear brother and first brother Warren with First Work Media in the digital building. We've got some powerful Black media moguls that are in the building. Shout out to you, Silent D Production. I bless your gift 1,000-fold. He said, ready for the verdict of the Honorable Vicky Dillard. I know somebody talked Black to me today. You know, we hold court. We hold court. And we have a gavel here because our word matters. Let's get into our topic today, family. Instagram, I want to invite you to come on over right now to FlyNubianQueenTV.com because I'm going to need to use this device. I see someone saying they're from Philadelphia, Maryland here. Canada, shout out to you, Canada. I see Georgia, I see Paris, I see LA, I see New York, I see Harlem, Pennsylvania, Northeast DC. Oh my gosh, it's moving so fast. London, Fort Hood, Fort Lauderdale, Dallas, Nassau, Reno, Houston. Y'all, this thing is moving so fast. Topeka, Kansas, Chicago, London, Miami, Florida, Atlantic City, District of Columbia, San Antonio, Charleston, South Carolina. I'm so honored that you would join us today. I see you, London. I see you. I see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for supporting this amazing network, FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Again, don't forget, don't delay. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share. I see you, New Orleans. I see you, Salt Lake. I see you, Albany. I see you. I see you. Atlanta on Instagram, Florida on Instagram, New Orleans on Instagram, the ATL, Illinois. Thank you so much. Instagram, come on over because I'm getting ready to use this device and you don't want to miss it. Somebody talk black to me. Family, by the way, I want you to know that you can follow me on Instagram. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Dillard. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Dillard. It would be my pleasure to see you there. Vicky X Dillard. Are you ready, family? Let me just finish putting this up. You all know we're live and direct, so I'm inviting some of our other family to join us right now. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for texting the word Queens to 31996 so that you're able to receive phone notifications when we go live from time to time. All right. Welcome. Here we go. So, yesterday, we were so rudely interrupted when I got ready to unleash and release some receipts. We do know that Nick Cannon has been the controversy. He's been the subject of a major controversy over the last several days. We do know that Nick Cannon has recently said some amazing things about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, which he should. And he attended Minister Farrakhan's worldwide address over the July 4th weekend. I was there as well. We're so honored. I keep talking about it because it's such a huge honor. The greatest of my life thus far, actually. And to be there and to receive an invitation, again, we were socially distanced in some ways away, but to even be on the farm and to be in the garden was such a blessing. I saw Nick Cannon come in, and I remember pointing him out to my mom. I'm like, oh, that's Nick Cannon right there, Mom. So anyway, he's received a lot of backlash. We do understand that there is a lot of attempts to censor and to silence Black thought, Black voices. We see that in social media platforms. We see that manifested in a number of ways. So they didn't like the fact that a strong Black intelligent man who exposes our open enemies, exposes the root of white supremacy, that is Minister Farrakhan. They don't like his influence and his impact on the lives of powerful and influential Black men. So Nick has been getting some work. He's not the only one. Recently, Charlemagne the God has come under fire by these same forces that have tried to control him as well as Ice Cube, again, Nick Cannon, and others. Who else am I missing, Black family? What is that ball player's name? Deshaun Jackson is another one. What's that other ball player who I think is retired? And he put up a picture of him and Minister Farrakhan, and then he turned around and snatched it down. It was a couple of them. One of them has a little family situation going on too. What's their names, family? Put their names in the chat. A couple of those basketball players. One is married to Gabrielle Union. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. And then there's another Allen Iverson. I didn't see y'all put his name in there, but what's the other one's name? What's the other basketball player's name? He's retired, married to the actress. Thumbs up, family. Dwayne Wade. Thank you. How in the world could I forget that? Dwayne Wade. So, family, we see that there is open attempts to shut down the voices and the power of Black men. I've explained to you before repeatedly that this attempt is meant, I love you back from North Carolina, Cheryl. I bless your gift 1,000-fold. We understand that they're attacking our warrior class, but we're not going to have it. Somebody talk Black to me. But let's get ready to get into it. Here we go, family. I want to read you this disclaimer because whenever I share even public information, I always like to cross my T's and dot my I's. We believe in following the rules. Somebody talk black to me. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips to balance in favor of fair use. I also want to be clear. My name is Vicki Dillon. As you know, I'm here weekdays, but the opinions that I express here on the network, FlyNubianQueenTV.com, and its affiliates are not necessarily those of the particular networks that I'm on. So I want to give that disclaimer. Notwithstanding, family, I'm going to be even more careful doing the show because I want to let you know that we don't even have to resort, family, to extremes. I'm just going to give you some facts here and they will begin to speak for themselves. How many of you all know there's a scripture? There's a scripture says, and I want you to fill in the blank for those of you that know it, give no place to the who? Give no place to the opposer. Now let's get ready to get into it. You all are aware that Nick ended up saying some controversial stuff in some tweets that he put out. Let me just share a couple of them with you to give context as I get ready to cue this subject here today. Bless you, Erica. She said, "I'll rise quiet. Queen V is in here." Thank you. Listen. So Nick was receiving quite a bit of backlash from white supremacist entities and organizations because he exposed white supremacy. He expressed his disgust with white supremacy in every area. Well, Nick also upset a black society because we felt that the way that the interview, after he was forced to apologize, we appreciated how he came out with his strong black, masculine demand that he receive full ownership of his billion-dollar business company that he created, show that he created called Wilding Out. Just a little background. And so he came out demanding that, and he also demanded an apology because they slandered him as well. And so he quickly turned around and gave another apology, which some considered to be extraordinarily, he exhibited a lot of groveling, and folk were upset because they felt like it was, disrespectful to Minister Farrakhan after he had just attended his worldwide address to turn around and sit down and meet with the very people that have lied on and slandered and defamed Minister Farrakhan and by extension, black people. Notwithstanding those things, we properly and correctly criticize him on those things. But I want us to see the larger picture here, family, and I want us to keep our eye on the ball. Let's get ready to get into it. To catch up with a little bit of what we listened to yesterday, I'm going to cue that now, in just a moment, rather. But Nick put out a couple of tweets where he said, after he received some backlash, he says, "I have hurt an entire community, and it pained me to my core. I thought it couldn't get any worse. Then I watched my own community turn on me and call me a sellout for apologizing. Good night. Enjoy Earth." This alarmed a lot of us because it sounded like he was talking about suicide here, because he was receiving backlash from the black community as well. And quite frankly, family, the only persons and the only community that should have been upset was us in the first place, because Nick didn't do anything wrong. But then Nick followed up later with another tweet that says, "Just when I thought it couldn't get any worse, 2020 is definitely the most effed up year I've ever witnessed. After waking up and barely rising from my own dark contemplation of continuing my physical existence on earth," that's all I'm getting ready to read from that crazy tweet. Now, I became concerned because I thought to myself, okay, Nick, you're doing back-to-back tweets that's implying that you're wanting to commit suicide. I was disgusted by that. I wasn't just concerned about how well Nick was doing. My concern was, if you know that you influence millions of people and a lot of them are young people, that's very dangerous to even imply that. And then I said to myself, well, is he trying to play us emotionally to make black folks feel bad because we were calling him out? So I want you to know today that we understand that our open enemy is the one that instigated this. And there are still some good lessons that we can extract from this situation. So let's not beat up on our brother today. That's not the point of my show. And even when I was charging him to stand up like a man and to stand his post, I was doing it as a loving sister who recognizes that there is a warrior in him. Never compare us. See, it's them, Nick. It's those white supremacists that you initially called out. It's them that canceled you. The black community, those of us that mean well, were counseling you. Somebody talk black to me. There's a difference. See, they're the ones who actually counseled you. They're the ones that's trying to snatch your shows. They're the ones trying to defame you. They're the ones that's trying to censor your voice and so forth and cut off your relationships. But we were the ones that was trying to counsel you. Don't ever get that twisted. Now that I've said that, listen to a little bit of the interview. Nick calls in the very disrespectful man who disrespected us and our people. He sits down with them. Nick clears out all of his social media. Nick clears out all of his interviews that he did with all the black conscious folk, all the black scholars. Nick scrubbed his social media, specifically the Instagram. He scrubbed all of that of anything black and conscious. And he's only kept up this interview with his new mentor. I'm pulling it up right now, family. Thank you so much for your patience. On the count of three, for those of you that haven't. On the count of three, for those of you that haven't, please hit that thumbs up button. Are you ready? Please hit that thumbs up button. 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like, be sure to share. Here we go. Give me a second. It's coming up here.
What happened to someone else?
Right.
I
hear that. And so, I think that would kind of,
And so, I mean, parents and grandparents.
Oh, angry.
Now, if you missed the show yesterday, you have got to get caught up.
One day have I never not loved my father unconditionally. And the only reason why I make that example is because when I look to angry, Earth might.
We're gonna listen to a little bit of this, and then I'm gonna fill you in.
Like South
Here we
Central,
go.
LA, Compton, handing out free food, knocking on doors during the times of COVID, giving toilet paper with the Nation of Islam.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm on the board of St. Mary's in New York, Children's Hospital, where my personal friend, a rabbi, we go from room to room, children with cancer. I know beautiful, amazing men who have completely different walks of life. And I'm like, why can't I get these two groups together to speak? Why is there so much division where loving spiritual leaders won't talk to each other?
Well, I've answered that question yesterday. I answered the question, Nick, that's a false statement, Nick. Nick, we've made it very clear that Minister Farrakhan has asked for an open and public debate with their individuals. He said, call in your scholars. I'll bring mine. I'm happy to sit down with you civilly with receipts to defend our position. Nick, it's not true that we don't want to sit down to expose these opponents for the liars and the mischief makers that they are. So family, we're not going to make false equivalents. The question should have been, why won't you guys agree to sit down publicly? Why are you guys saying something that you can't substantiate with receipts and facts and evidence? I'm going to need somebody black to talk black to me. Keep listening.
Right. So let me introduce you a little bit to my worldview and how I was born in 1950. That's 5 years after the end of World War II. During the Nazi period.
Just so you know, he is sitting there meeting with Rabbi Abraham Cooper. Nick found out about this man on Twitter after this man slandered Nick and said that if you wanted a PhD, basically in anti-Semitism and all this kind of stuff, he was dogging out Nick, lying on Nick, slandering Nick. And so Nick allowed him access to his amazing platform after this man disparaged him. And Nick said, come on, let's talk about this. But even though it seems like there was a sign of weakness on Nick's part, I don't want us to focus on that because I see something good coming out of this situation. Do you believe me? I'm going to make the point here in just a minute. Keep liking and sharing, family. Don't forget, tonight is my clubvicky.com, clubvicky.com, my exclusive mastermind class.
That's 1933 when Hitler came, till 45 when he committed suicide.
Right.
So he wasn't.
I'm a fast forward.
Really hiding his game plan about Jews, what he thought. That's 1930.
I know.
And how I was born in. We do hate evil. Evil is real power, and we do hate evil. We don't condone it. There are those whose religious faith or their spiritual approach is, no, you can't hate anything because it's going to, it's going to
drive out darkness with light.
Yeah, it's going to consume it. Right. But there are sometimes when you're confronted with absolute evil that you have to be lucky enough that Kareem's father's best friend,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
right, burst into a Nazi concentration camp in 1945 and saved some people who a few days later would have been dead anyway from starvation. So the point is, yes, we have to love humanity. Heck, if you see Genesis, our approach is we are each created in the image of God, as you know a little bit of Hebrew. Yeah. Selem Elohim.
Yeah.
Then there's another line, and we might threaten to give the Talmud a good name here.
Yeah.
The Talmud teaches Kashem she partzofehem shonim shono kach deoteim shonim.
All right.
Which means panim is face.
We're going somewhere here, family, in just a moment. Just give me a second to get there. This is a place for intelligent Black people. I'm going to lay the groundwork. I want you to listen very closely because the man, again, that's talking is Rabbi Abraham Cooper. Rabbi Abraham Cooper, this man that slandered Nick, that disrespected and slandered and lied on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and by extension, Black people, this man who is responsible for Black destruction in a number of ways. And I'll explain what I mean here in just a bit. Connected to an organization. I'm getting ready to get into it. I want you to keep in mind that this man that he's talking to works within the organization, the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Wiesenthal Center. Thank you. It's in the chat, the link. Simon Wiesenthal Center. Watch this.
Just as no two faces are alike, no two people think exactly alike.
That's true. And I since, I don't know, I'm going to shout myself out, give myself a Hebrew thing. I know Azel, Haham, Halomed, Mikal, Adam.
Excellent.
Means all people.
If you
all the wise man must learn from all people.
That's correct.
So
I believe
while we're
in that.
sitting here, and that's even in that question.
What Mr. Wiesenthal taught me.
Listen to the name, because I'm getting ready to go there. What? In case you missed it, what I posted on Instagram earlier today, a few hours ago, is this. Unmasking the frenemy guest of Nick Cannon. Today's show is about unmasking. Somebody say unmasking the frenemy. You know what a frenemy is. It's someone that exhibits traits and characteristics of a friend and an enemy. That's what the show is today, baby. This is what it's about. Unmasking the frenemy guest of Nick Cannon. So I don't want us to beat up on Nick today. That's not what this is about. That's never our goal anyway. It's to empower and strengthen our brother for the better, for the good of the Black collective. But I want to focus on the man he's interviewing. This man is the one that works with the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Okay, I don't know where that's coming from. That ain't it, family. That ain't it. That ain't it. Watch this. Thumbs up, family. Keep liking and sharing. So don't forget that.
Some interesting things. But I think only someone who went through it could sort of set those markers down. Because he refused to be consumed by hate.
Who is he talking about? Simon Wiesenthal, the man who's passed away now. He's dead now. But the organization, this man, Simon Wiesenthal, who this Rabbi Abraham Cooper knew for 30-something years, who he reveres and loves.
His focus was justice, and he invested a lot of time and a lot of trust in the new generation that was coming up in Germany. And there were times I was with him, he'd be in an airport, somebody who was really white. I mean, they're really, really white. An Aryan, you know, come over with
I was saying they're going to get mad at you for saying that,
piece of paper.
Listen.
And we give the paper to Mr. He refused to be consumed by hate. His focus was justice. And he invested a lot of time and a lot of trust in the new generation that was coming up in Germany. And there were times I was with him. He'd be in an airport, somebody who was really white. I mean, they're really, really white. An Aryan, you know, come over with
I was saying they're going to get mad at you for saying that,
piece of paper. And we give the paper to Mr. Wiesenthal because everybody in Europe knew him then. And he said, this is the name and date of birth of my father or grandfather or older brother. They won't tell me what they did in World War II. Can you please check it out and let me know? That was the kind of symbol that Mr. Wiesenthal became to a lot of young people, young Germans.
Right.
So his humanity was limitless. But as someone who had experienced the ultimate evil, you know, people, he wrote a book.
Pay attention. Did you hear what this rabbi just said? Rabbi Abraham Cooper, don't forget his name. He says that this Simon Wiesenthal, the center that this man now works for, Mr. Wiesenthal is now dead. He's revered in the eyes of Mr. Rabbi Cooper. Listen, he says he experienced the ultimate evil. Let me tell you something, family. We recognize, we Black Holocaust survivors, those of us that are foundational Black Americans, and also our brothers and sisters, those of the diaspora around the world. We acknowledge that other people groups may have experienced difficulty, trouble, oppression, murder, wickedness, and evil. What we submit to you today is that those things we were forced and we were required to know your history, God, today. But the Holocaust that lasted longer, somebody say hashtag 465. The Holocaust that lasted longer than anybody else's Holocaust. The one that's still going on today. The Holocaust where we and our ancestors experienced some of the most diabolical, wicked, and savage treatment, more so than anybody, some of the most inhumane treatment on the planet for longer than anybody else. Watch this. And we haven't gotten reparations. We've not been repaired. In fact, our oppressors have been hostile and have refused to repair us. So that's not anybody else's story. So if anybody has a right to say they've experienced ultimate evil, and we don't denigrate anybody else's experience in the world, we're just saying, how dare you act like, God, today, that there is not a people that even you, Mr. Cooper, are responsible for oppressing, God, today. Somebody talk Black to me. Keep listening. Thumbs up, family. Thumbs up, keep liking and sharing.
Got to read it, called The Sunflower.
Sunflower.
Okay, there are a couple of different editions. The newer one has, you could probably teach the course eventually on the sunflower because it's about everything we talked about yesterday.
Right.
It's a real story. Mr. Wiesenthal was in 6 camps.
Listen,
during the war.
Who is he talking about? He's talking about Mr. Wiesenthal. He's bragging about this man, Mr. Wiesenthal. We're getting ready to talk about Mr. Wiesenthal.
I think this was in the 4th one. And one day he was called out of line. We call the appel. You're lined up. You can stand there for hours. The Nazis did it just, to torture people.
Right.
And they took him and they brought him into a field full of sunflowers. There was a field hospital, big tent. He goes into a tent and there is someone who's dying of their injuries.
Listen.
Turns out it's an SS officer. And he said, I want to see a Jew. I want to confess and I want to be I want someone who's Jewish to accept my apologies for what I did before I go to the next world. I want to clear the, and he told they brought in Simon. He was shocked. He figured, he didn't know, maybe they'd take him in the tent to shoot him or whatever.
Right.
And he was asked, will you forgive him?
Wow.
And the book stops there, and then he asks religious, spiritual leaders like the Dalai Lama and others, what would you say? What would you say to someone who asks you that question?
What would you say?
You're asking me? I was born in Brooklyn.
Okay, so that's enough of that madness. What I wanted you to listen to was how this rabbi, which means teacher, Abraham Cooper, who disrespects and denigrates Black people and Black leaders, who lies and slanders Minister Farrakhan, how he managed to get to sit at Nick's table. Nick invites him to talk. So this man is bragging about this organization, the man who's the founder of this, the man who this center he's working with now, who's dead now, Simon Wiesenthal. I was sharing with you some receipts about Mr. Simon Wiesenthal. And I want to say this to you, beloved. I have taught you for some time now that you are the people of the book. Black man and Black woman, in America in particular. We have a very unique and special call because we are the original people of the planet. We are the mothers and fathers of civilization. This is a historical fact that's proven in no limit of time, even and especially by white scientists, old school scientists like Leakey and Mendel, and even some of the modern ones. Listen, you are the creators of science and philosophy and mathematics and medicine and everything else. But that knowledge was stolen from you and renamed. It was plundered from you, and it was erased out of your head when they made us other than ourselves during those 64 years between 1555 and 1619 to make us into a slave. Watch this. This is important that you know. This is important that you recognize this extraordinary distinction, specialness, and godness about yourself. It is also one of the reasons you are targeted unlike anybody else. Now listen. I wanted to go somewhere else with this, but let me say this. I'll marry this point in a minute. I was sharing with you yesterday information about the Simon Wiesenthal Center. It was this piece that's written by Jackie Muhammad. Now, you all know that I often give you information about the writer of an article. That information was at the bottom of this piece yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to finish telling you. But shout out to my beautiful sister that says, Vicky, you said Jackie Muhammad. When you said Jackie, you said she. Black family, I don't want to effeminize somebody talking Black to me. The writer of this piece, Jackie being a man. So I want to be very clear to correct and to fix that. Somebody talk Black to me. But normally, you all know that I like to look into the folk who even write pieces. And at the bottom of the article yesterday, which we never did get into, I didn't share that information because it's written there. But I'm going to go ahead and share it with you now. And then I'm going to double back and read to you a little bit more of the body of the newspaper. Our beloved brother, Jackie Muhammad, not she, but this big Black brain scholar who wrote this piece a decade ago, family, about this Mr. Cooper and his colleagues and Mr. Simon Wiesenthal and the Simon Wiesenthal Center. I want to tell you something about the writer of this piece. Not only is Jackie a man, I was feeling myself yesterday when I was reading all this stuff and said, she, no, he, let me not effeminize this black man. God, today. Y'all know that was an innocent misspeak, but I want to go ahead and tell you what's at the end of this article. Listen, the writer of this piece, somebody say shout out to the black media. This is a decade ago. Jackie Muhammad is a former presidential appointee, member of the Oxford, this was when the piece was written, y'all, so not under the current administration. But at the time, Jackie Muhammad is a former presidential appointee, member of the Oxford Roundtable, educator, youth trainer, and businessman. I need somebody black to talk black to me. I want you to know some of the credentials and the individual that wrote this piece a decade ago. Now that you know that, listen. I'm going to skip through because I've got some other things from another piece that I want to share with you as well. But this is important. Thumbs up, family. Thumbs up. Keep liking and sharing. Follow, like, and share. Again, don't forget clubvicky.com, and our business school. The link is in the chat for flynubianbusiness.com. Let me take a sip of my tea. Our brother Jackie Muhammad talks about how the Simon Wiesenthal Center attacked Minister Farrakhan and attacked his book series, exposing through facts anti-black racist, those that were of the Rabbi Abraham Cooper's faith. Somebody talk black to me. He says here that Abraham Cooper, the SWC, which stands for the Simon Wiesenthal Center. So when you hear me say SWC, that's what that is. The Simon Wiesenthal Center, he says, at the time, under the leadership of Rabbis Marvin Heyer and Abraham Cooper, and Dr. Harold Brackman, have launched a classic disinformation campaign to discredit the book and the minister. They penned a tepid 16-page quote-unquote rebuttal to the 512-page TSRV2 that avoids, that's the book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, that avoids all the NOI's books, important themes, inserts, extraneous issues that are not even in the book, and arrogantly refuses to acknowledge the central role that they played in the enslavement, dehumanization, emasculation, and psychological destruction of Black people for over 400 years. This is what this beautiful brother of ours is charging them with. He goes on to say this. Are y'all ready? Y'all listen. We're unmasking this frenemy that Nick was interviewing. Nick didn't know that Rabbi Abraham Cooper, Nick didn't know that the center that he works with and for, Simon Wiesenthal Center, and the man himself, Simon Wiesenthal, who they revere, Nick didn't know this. He says what's generally unknown is that the SWC has a well-documented history of lies, distortions, and exaggerations. And they are moving against the minister to deflect attention away from the ugly controversies that they have surrounded the center. He goes on to say, among their many documented ruses, he said many, they doctored a WW2 World War II photograph of a concentration camp prisoners, painting in smoke billowing from chimneys, intending to make viewers believe that it was from Jews who were being incinerated. After it was disclosed that the center had inserted the smoke, the center removed it from the photograph and eventually removed the picture from its website. Somebody say, shout out to Black media. He says, incredibly, the center tried to explain away the embarrassment by claiming that the smoke was a result of a smudge, an explanation no one believed. He puts a link to the photo here. Did you all hear that? Here is the picture of the link, which is difficult for you all to see here. But our brother puts the receipts in the link here. Watch this. Now we understand why they're refusing to sit down and to debate. So they said after they were busted, somebody say, we busted them. They were busted. Lying, exaggerating. They removed the picture and they justified it by trying to say that that thing was a smudge. Keep reading, Vicky. Mark Weber, director of the Institute for Historical Review, the IHR, wrote that the SWC's, quote, y'all listen, I'm catching you up on yesterday when they tried to shut me down. Or we're going to give you the receipts. Mark Weber, director of the Institute for Historical Review, wrote that the SWC's, what does that stand for? Simon Wiesenthal Center, quote, record of exaggerating anti-Jewish sentiment to raise money is no secret. I didn't say it. The NOI didn't say it. I said that Mark Weber of the Historical Review said it, of the Institute for Historical Review. That was a quote. He says that even the Anti-Defamation League, how many of you all know that the Anti-Defamation League is anti-black? How many of you all know that the Anti-Defamation League put the Nation of Islam down as a terrorist organization? But as diabolical and as wicked as their schemes are, even they said, even they have acknowledged, he says, even the I'm still quoting Mark Weber of the IHR. I'm quoting him saying, even the Anti-Defamation League has acknowledged that the center makes, quote, inaccurate and exaggerated claims about anti-Semitism to raise money. Somebody talk black to me. Somebody say shout out for black media. Black media that existed a decade ago in print form. How many of you all know, shout out to the Nation of Islam who recognized who they were dealing with a long time ago. Even before a decade ago. Keep listening. It says it found, for example, that a center fundraising letter is, quote, replete with factual misstatements and exaggerations about anti-Jewish sentiment in the United States and Europe. He goes on. The fabrication or suppression, this is Mr. Jackie Muhammad, the fabrication or suppression of information by the center appears to be their mainstay. Indeed, Simon Wiesenthal himself, we're not talking about just the center, we're not talking about just the organization. Y'all listen to what this black man charges them with. He says that Simon Wiesenthal himself, has come under fire for his sordid history of flagrant lying and bold-faced exaggerations. The famed Austrian Nazi hunter, you all remember yesterday's show? You exactly heard Rabbi Cooper call Mr. Simon Wiesenthal a Nazi hunter? Well, listen to what this black man exposes with receipts. He says that Mr. Simon Wiesenthal himself, again, under fire for a sordid history of flagrant lies, bold-faced exaggerations, he says that the famed Austrian Nazi hunter, now confirmed by newly found documents to have been an Israeli Mossad agent, was said to, quote, never let the facts get in the way of a good story. Somebody talk black to me. Hunting Evil author, somebody say receipts. Hunting Evil author Guy Walters depicts Wiesenthal as, quote, I didn't say it, The Nation of Islam didn't say it. No, Nick Cannon didn't say this. Ice Cube didn't say this. Charlemagne didn't say this. I said Hunting Evil author Guy Walters depicts Wiesenthal as, quote, a liar and a bad one at that. This is the rabbi's mentor. This is who Nick entertained. Thumbs up, keep liking and sharing, family. Listen. He relates how Wiesenthal concocted outrageous stories about his war years and made fictitious claims concerning his academic achievements. How many of you all know that this is somewhere, this reminds me of something in John chapter 8 about the father of lies and stuff like that. Listen. He says Walters found, quote, so many inconsistencies between Wiesenthal's three main memoirs and contemporaneous documents that it is impossible to establish a reliable narrative from them. Wiesenthal's scant regard for truth makes it possible to doubt everything he ever wrote or said, end quote. Could this be the reason they're refusing to publicly debate? Could this be the reason they keep running from intelligent black men? Somebody talk black to me. Listen. Oh, I'm going to catch you up on yesterday. And we're going to do it in no limit of time. Listen. The same disregard for truth plagues the center named after Mr. Wiesenthal. In his article, quote, Deconstructing Simon Wiesenthal, Lawrence Swain draws an analogy between the truth-challenged Nazi hunter and the falsehoods that spew from the SWC. What does SWC stand for? Simon Wiesenthal Center. He points to the center's 1998 report. Oh, y'all, this is a place for intelligent black people. It's about truth. He points to the center's 1998 report, The Unwanted Guest, Swiss Forced Labor Camps 1940 through 1944, in which they falsely accused Switzerland. Y'all ain't ready for this. When I was reading this, I was screaming. Watch this. The center's 1998 report, titled The Unwanted Guest, Swiss Forced Labor Camps 1940 to 1944, in which they falsely accuse Switzerland of wartime crimes, demanding compensation for Jewish victims. Watch this. But an Australian Jewish researcher, who? No black person that is hating on anybody of another faith. Who did I say? An Australian Jewish researcher found survivors that not only contradicted the report, but were thankful for refuge they found in Switzerland. God today. Oh, there is a scripture in the Holy Quran that says that we hurl truth at falsehood until we knock out his brains. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Don't forget we have a store, shopfnq.com. Watch this. The inaccuracies of the report infuriated Simon Wiesenthal so much that he disavowed the center and its report. Another individual who is Jewish, in fact, he is the son of a Holocaust survivor, Professor Norman Finkelstein. Professor Norman Finkelstein, who is the son of Holocaust survivors, author of the critically acclaimed book, The Holocaust Industry, refers to the SWC. What does SWC stand for, class? The Simon Wiesenthal Center. This is a head man that Nick sat down with, who runs that center, who participates in that center, Professor Norman Finkelstein, refers to the SWC's leaders as, quote, a gang of heartless and immoral crooks whose hallmark is that they will do anything for $1. Vicky, keep reading. I know it's a lot, but we don't play. We don't believe in giving misinformation. Black folks are the most loving people on the planet. We're the most empathetic, sympathetic people on the planet, but don't lie on us. You better back up and back off, baby, because we'll unleash the big black brains on you. We'll hurl truth at falsehood till we knock out his brains. Thumbs up, family. Don't forget to text the word Queens to 31996. Everybody, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Dillard. Follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Dillard. Listen. And he is not alone, says our brother Jackie Muhammad. He says Rabbi Michael Lerner, who co-wrote a book with Black Professor Cornel West. Y'all know who Cornel West is. We love some of the work that Cornel West has done. He ain't bowling out there like this with these other black scholars, but we're going to leave that there. Shout out for the stuff that he does do pretty good. Thumbs up, family. Keep liking and sharing. Listen. He says he's not alone. Rabbi Michael Lerner, who co-wrote a book with Black Professor Cornel West, wrote that the SWC, Simon Wentworth Center, quote, has a professional stake in exaggerating the dangers and sometimes allowing existing racial or political prejudices in the Jewish world to influence how it would portray the potential dangers. Y'all ready for this piece? Y'all ain't ready for this next piece. When I read this, I screamed. When California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger was a gubernatorial candidate, how many of you all know when he was running for governor? That's what that means, gubernatorial candidate. It says that the SWC, Simon Wentworth Center, discovered that his father was a member, watch this, discovered that his father was a member of the infamous Nazi brown shirts. Did you all know that about Arnold Schwarzenegger's family? About his father? Watch this. Watch this. After they found out that Arnold Schwarzenegger's was a gubernatorial candidate and that after the Simon Wentworth Center discovered that his father was a member of the infamous Nazi brown shirts, in an article written by Ernesto Cienfuegos, I probably butchered that name spelled Cienfuegos, of La Voz de Aztlán, Aztlan, Aztlán, he alleges that the center suppressed this information. Y'all listen. The center suppressed that information that they had about Arnold Schwarzenegger's dad in exchange for a $750,000 contribution for the candidate. I didn't say this based on information and belief based on this report. See, we're giving you the receipts and names. The center's, quote, Museum of Tolerance is now a line item in the California budget for $5 million a year. This was 10 years ago. And even while teachers, policemen, and firemen were being laid off in record numbers, the city of Los Angeles found $18 million for Rabbi Abraham Cooper. Who is Rabbi Abraham Cooper that this 10-year-old article written by Jackie Muhammad is talking about? Nick didn't know this. Nick, we're unmasking the frenemy. Nick didn't know. Somebody told Black to me. Nick, who is this article from 10 years ago talking about, Nick? That's this fella. Y'all see this fella? Abraham Cooper. Somebody say shout out for black media. See, that's why black family, you don't try to question black folk in a way that you will never question your lying oppressor. The reason why they keep books and information from you, the reason why they don't let certain powerful black voices in mainstream, because they know that we're going to do exactly what I vowed to Minister Farrakhan I would do on July 4th when he gave a worldwide address. Minister Farrakhan said that if you know the truth, you shout it from the mountaintop. And I said in response, so help me God, I will. We don't mind you vetting us. We're just saying that while you're questioning your own, make sure you at least do the same for your open enemy. I've taught you on this show how special you are, the mothers and fathers of civilization, direct descendants of the supreme God. I showed you that in the beginning, the example that we see, one of the many revelations that comes through the story of creation. It's not just one revelation from that, it's several. But one of the revelations that we get from that story is that when God was looking for Adam and the woman, I've taught you this. What did God say when he was looking for Adam and the woman? He says, where are you? And Adam responded and said, we were naked. Adam said we were naked. So we hid ourselves. And what did God say? He said, who told you that? I've taught you over and over again to always consider the source. And when our open enemy has given us so-called data and facts, you should assume that if they're moving their lips, they're lying. And more than that, you should assume the fact that they're still breathing, they're lying. Their breath is lie breath. Their socks are lie socks. Their shoes are lie shoes. Parallel parking is a lie parallel parking. When they sneeze, it's a lie sneeze. When they wipe their nose and snot's coming out, it's lying snot. Somebody talk black to me. When they itch, it's a lie itch. When they're hungry, it's a lie hunger. When they're thirsty, it's a lie thirst. Keep going, Vicky. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Keep liking and sharing. A couple thousand of you in the chat live. We're so pleased that you're with us today and perhaps thousands later. We want you to like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody that you know. Tune in to FlyNewbieQueenTV.com. Subscribe and share and hit that notification bell. And make sure that you tune in to the Vicky Show daily, weekly rather, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on FlyNewbieQueenTV.com. We're unmasking the frenemy that Nick Cannon didn't know he was sitting down with. You know Nick didn't know all this. Nick didn't know the enemy he was dealing with, the frenemy. Keep listening. Watch this. Did you hear what I said about Arnold Schwarzenegger? They found some dirty information on Arnold Schwarzenegger's father. They hid it and kept the information. Miss Porsche, thank you for your gift. She said, thank you so much, Queen. You're so welcome. Listen, don't forget, this was from an article that was written by Ernesto, Cienfuego, of La Vaz de Aslan. He alleges that the center suppressed this information in exchange for $750,000 contribution from the candidate. And what did he say? I don't want you to forget this. It said that the center's Museum of Tolerance is now a line item in the California's budget for $5 million a year. And even while teachers, policemen, and firemen were being laid off in record numbers, the city of Los Angeles found $18 million for who? They found $18 million for this fella right here. Keep reading, Vicky. Many have voiced their outrage. Many Angelenos have voiced their outrage about the huge sums of money that have been earmarked for the Wiesenthal Center, particularly in light of California's desperate budget plight. Y'all better talk black to me. But despite, y'all ain't done, but despite the state's budget woes, finances are not a concern for the SWC. What's the SWC, family? Simon Wiesenthal Center. Nick didn't know that this frenemy had all this baggage. See, black family, when white folks are trying to intentionally make you a felon, when they're intentionally trying to get you trapped up in something so that they can give you a record and use it against you later, discriminate against you yet later, use you later, you shouldn't be worried about your record. You ought to be asking, who told you that? You ought to be considering the source. Shout out to you, Nita Mimi, for your gift. Oh, Nene said, real talk, much appreciated. Thank all of you who have been giving. I'm sorry I couldn't read all of your names. Every one of you that are giving, just know that you're supporting black media. Black family, when you see all those commercials on white mainstream media, when you see that they have millions and millions and millions of dollars in sponsorship, those of you that are giving financially, do you know that you're the equivalent of that for black media? We thank you. For those that can't do it, when you share, that's a form of advertising. Do you know that? When you give word of mouth, when you text, all of you are participating. Thank you. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Tiller Family and text the word Queens to 31996 so that you're able to receive phone notifications when we go live. The information will be in the chat. Listen, we're not done, y'all. Nick didn't know the frenemy that was sitting before him. What did I say? Despite the state's budget woes, finances are not a concern for SWC, Simon Wiesenthal Center. Weber reports that according to records from 2002 and 2003, Rabbi Heyer paid, that was the other one that was running the center, along with who? Along with who? Rabbi Abraham Cooper. Who's Rabbi Abraham Cooper? Nick's new frenemy, mentor, who he sat down with. Listen. The one telling Nick to repent. The one telling Nick, you better apologize. The one telling Nick that our black heroes and leaders are haters and slandered ours. Listen to him. Weber reports that according to records from 2002 and 3, Rabbi Heyer paid himself more than $482,000 in salary and benefits. In addition, the rabbi pays his wife $320,000 and his sons, Alan, somebody say Alan, A-L-A-N, and Aaron, that's A-R-O-N, receive $151,000 and $95,000 respectively. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? I know I'm talking to some intelligent black people. What's this man's name, family? This frenemy that sits down making these demands and dogging out black folk. This fella here, what's his name, family? What's this fella's name who Nick sat down with? Put his name in the chat, family, as I pull the article back up. What's his name, family? What's his name? What's his name? That's right, Abraham Cooper. Rabbi Abraham Cooper received $397,000 in salaries and benefits. The Wiesenthal Center's record of recklessly abandoning truth for sleazy propaganda. See, black media has been going on for a while, but they were suppressing one of the most powerful members of the black media for many decades. Shout out to the Black Research team of the NOI. Listen, thumbs up, keep liking and sharing. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Everybody hit that notification bell and make sure that you subscribe. Thank you so much. Listen. It says Rabbi Heyer penned, watch this, an article in on November 26th, rather, let me say it right. Rabbi Heyer penned an article in the November 26, 1990 Newsweek titled Crisis in the Gulf, in which he pressed, are y'all ready for this? Y'all, I don't play with y'all. I don't play with the black family. Rabbi Heyer, the other co-leader, along with Rabbi Cooper, Abraham Cooper, who Nick sat down with, he penned a piece in November 26, 1990 Newsweek titled Crisis in the Gulf, in which he pressed the United States to invade Iraq, claiming that they had nuclear weapons. Y'all play too much. Y'all play too much. Heyer makes no mention of Israel's well-known nuclear arsenal, nor of how the rogue state shared its nuclear knowledge and hardware with the racist apartheid state of South Africa. Heyer's Newsweek lies clearly contributed to a disgraceful war that cost the United States over $750 billion, 4,427 American soldiers' lives, 35,000 wounded, and hundreds of thousands, I said hundreds of thousands of Iraqi deaths and millions of displaced citizens, all apparently to benefit them. I said the person that penned this beautiful piece a decade ago. See, Nick, the reason they don't want you to connect with the old school wisdom, God, today, is because Nick is just now getting into certain knowledge of stuff. God. But the minister Farrakhan's and those that are black, conscious, strong black men and women that are intelligent, they knew about this enemy a long time ago. They didn't want you to have nothing to do with him because they knew that you would be exposed. Don't you know that's the reason why they kept you during slavery away from your fathers in the first place? So that they would not be able to pass down to you your history, your God, your mores, your religions, and your traditions. The reason they label and demonize him as such, so that you would never give him your attention. God, today. The reason, black family, it's important that we unify is not because we believe in everything somebody else is doing, but I've told you a million times that our collective wisdom, God, today, is what's going to give us the advantage in this war where it appears that we're outmanned and outgunned. Somebody just said, great information, love you. I love you back. I bless your gift 1,000-fold. Whoever said that, thumbs up, keep liking and sharing. You see how some of you get tricked? We've got to learn from the past, family. We've got to stop letting our open enemies, those that are responsible and that have a history of our undoing, tell us what to do. Our hater tells us that one of our own is a hater. Baby, you better go back to Genesis. Who told you that? Eve, of course, she was known as the woman at that time. It was only after that Adam named her. Why did you even give the serpent a hearing? Why did you even give the serpent a hearing? I'm not done, family. I'm going to say this and I got to get ready to go because I told you I have my question and answer mastermind that I'm going to be dropping today. And I'm going to stay on target because I got to keep my body together. I got some medical stuff to do, but I want you to listen to this briefly. Ebony, thank you for your gift. I bless your gift 1,000-fold, beloved. Thank you so much for your kind words, comments, and for supporting Black media. On the count of 3, for those of you that have it, I want you to get ready to give us the thumbs up, liking, and sharing. If you're watching us on Fly Nubian Queen TV, if you're watching us on one of our other platforms, get ready to like, share, follow, and subscribe. I'm typically here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com weekdays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Watch this. I got something else to share with you today. I won't be long. I can't. Listen. Nick is talking to him, right? Nick is sitting down with Rabbi Abraham Cooper with all of this baggage. But Nick didn't know that he was sitting down with a frenemy, right? Nick didn't know that he was sitting down with a frenemy, one that came to him as an angel of light. I'm sorry, one that came to him as a friend. No, one that came to him as an angel of light. I'm sorry, one that came to him as a friend, one that came to him as an angel of light. Exhibiting traits that are both of the friend and the foe. Somebody talk black to me. Watch this. Watch this. Listen to a little bit more. And I'm getting ready to connect another dot. I'm getting ready to give you some more information about this frenemy. We're unmasking. What was the name of that show? Didn't they say that Nick has another show that he does about masking? What's the name of that show that Nick does about, that say something about masking, unmasking a mask or something? Watch this. That gives me a minute. Y'all put that in the chat while I get ready to pull up some more receipts. Some more receipts. Some more receipts. What's the name of that show? Masked Singer. Thank you. You all know that when I titled today's show, I was not consciously thinking about that. Unmasking the frenemy, guest of Nick Cannon. Isn't that prophetic? Unmasked Singer. God today. Nick, baby, I'm prophesying to you, beloved. There's some things that's happening. Nick. That's one of Nick's shows, isn't it? The Masked Singer. Is that right? The Masked Singer. And today's show, what did I say? We're unmasking the frenemy guest of Nick. Nick, baby, you didn't know you was on to something. Now, let me tell y'all something real quick before I get ready to give you some more receipts. Can I tell you something? Before I swing these curly braids all over this globe again. Watch this. Watch this. Some folks are saying that Nick was very weak in this interview. Some of us were disgusted that he would even give this man a hearing when in fact he needs to be giving the black scholars a hearing. The Nation of Islam researchers who they specifically attacked, and then by extension other black people and some of the other black names that I just mentioned, instead of them being a man and dealing with them face to face. Watch this. Not in a fashion like face to Facebook. God today. I didn't say face to Facebook because that's what he's doing. He's doing all this stuff from a distance. I remember my brother, shout out to Brother Derek. He had a post long time ago that reminded me of that. Listen, not men do stuff face to face. I think that's what my brother said a long time ago. See, men, real men, they do stuff face to face, not face to Facebook. Cowards do face to Facebook. Men do face to face. I'm helping somebody today. Watch this. I want to tell you about Nick. Some of you say that he's been weak. Some of us were disgusted. We didn't appreciate them lying on Minister Farrakhan. We don't appreciate Nick letting him get away. Because see, there's rules. There's Black God protocol. There's rules of engagement. You don't, even in war, there's rules of engagement. You don't even conduct war any kind of way. So the fact that he would disrespect our man means that he would have got checked and kicked out in the first place. But notwithstanding that, let me tell y'all something. Can I tell you a very important role that Nick is playing in this holy uprising that's not just in the streets? I need you to hear me today, family. I'm not caping for Nick, but we're making sure that we keep the main focus on the main thing. Listen, can I tell you that prophetic events have a way of shaping, repelling, and magnetizing people? Let me tell you something. In this war against black folks, the war that we will surely win, Some of you, black family, some of you are still in denial about white supremacy. Some of you all don't want to believe that black folk, that we're really at war and we're on a battlefield in these United States of America. Some of you have not volunteered to fight. Let me help you today. When there's a war going on, I'm getting ready to give you some more receipts. When there's a war going on, there are two kinds of soldiers a lot of times. Y'all ain't ready for this. How many of you all have heard of a little thing called conscription? How many of you all know what conscription is? I'm going to give you another word in a minute. Compulsory enlistment. Y'all ain't ready today. I know some of you are still wanting nearness to whiteness, approval from white mama and white zaddy. I know some of you want to level up in Babylon that's fallen in America, and God is trying to build a new world. He's trying to take you out of Egypt. But some of you funny looking Egyptians, some of you funny looking Negroes, you want to go back to Egypt instead of building a new world in the promised land. Some of you do what they did with Moses. They fight with Moses. They fight with Aaron because you're fighting to go back with bondage to bondage. You don't want something of your own in the promised land. Let me help some of you. When there's a war going on because you didn't make yourself, I can back it up. I believe it's in the book of Isaiah. Somebody help me if I'm getting the book of the Bible wrong. But isn't there something? Help me. Help me. Where it said the potter doesn't tell. The pot doesn't tell the potter, in other words. Why hast thou made me like this? Are y'all hearing me today? Are y'all hearing me? The potter and the clay. Jeremiah, rather. Jeremiah, you don't get to say, because you didn't think of yourself. This is how I was when I was going through the belly of the beast and I was going through all kinds of warfare. I was mad at God for the scandalous means that he was manifesting his purpose in my life. And then finally, after a time, I had to humble myself and recognize that what the enemy, as the scripture says, what the devil meant for evil, God means for my good. I had to be reminded of an ayat in the Quran that says that the enemy plans, but God plans, and indeed he is the best of planners. I had to remember that every knock is a boost. I had to remember that when it looks like I was being demoted, it was just a scandalous means of my promotion. Some of you don't understand this about war. Is that when there's a war going on, if you don't volunteer, God can draft you, Nick. I know you don't want to be in this war, Nick, because you put out some tweets talking about you wanted to take your life. You were hinting at that. But let me tell you, Nick, that God can draft you. He can compel you to enlist in the war, whether you want to or not, baby. Nick, when you set up this meeting, you didn't know some of the diabolical and nefarious forces and entities that was at work, but God will use that as a platform, baby, to make an open show. Some of you feel like that Nick looked weak. Let me tell you something. I have a lot of disagreeable parts of that thing, but I want you to focus on the larger picture. When you get finished, when we were dissecting that thing, at the end of that Rabbi Cooper, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, and the rest of the haters of black people and Minister Farrakhan, they ended up looking real stupid. How many of you all know I don't fool with sports? Y'all know I see watching sports is just like a notch below a terrorist attack. But one of the few things I've done in terms of sports-wise is watch boxing. That was a long time ago when I watched that. Thumbs up, family. Keep liking and sharing. And when I was watching boxing, I found out, listen, I found out I saw it was actually a boxing party. It was a whole long years ago. And they had us bring food and stuff like that. And I forget who was fighting. But we did all this preparation. We got dressed and stuff. I was trying to look cute and stuff with the person I was going with and everything. And a lot of people was at the house and stuff. And it was all clean and good and stuff. But, we brought, something to for this boxing party. We were sitting there. And the only reason why I went was because the person that was went. Because, like I told you, I don't fool with sports. It's like a terrorist attack or something. But listen. But as I was watching it, we did all this getting ready and burning gas and going across town and preparation of food and all that. Watch this. Only for us to leave after the boxing match started after about 5-10 minutes. I did all of that just to turn around and leave after about 5-10 minutes. Why, Vicky? Because the brother gave him a knockout in the first round or so. But then I ended up watching another boxing match. Y'all better talk black to me. Thumbs up, family. Listen. Then I ended up watching another boxing match. I almost call it a boxing game, but I know y'all may go crazy if I say game. And we were there almost all night long. And my understanding is that they can go up to 12 rounds. But in this particular match, I think they might have gone maybe 10 rounds or so. They had to go almost all 10, 12 rounds. Why am I bringing this up? I'm trying to let you know that when you are in battle, sometimes you will get a knockout in the first round. Sometimes your victories are swift. But sometimes, baby, you may have to go all 12 rounds. But there are two benefits to going all 12 rounds. Somebody talk black to me. Number one, you will find out what you're made of. God, today. It provides an opportunity for you to test your powers. Number one. And number two, this is what the thing showed for Nick. It will give you insight into the limits and the weaknesses of your open enemy. Did you catch that revelation? Shout out to my brother Rizza Islam in the digital building. Y'all shout out to the God, the black God Rizza Islam. If y'all don't know who he is, I don't know how you don't know, but look him up. Shout out to you, Akivia, for your gift. And I miss some of you others. I bless your gift 1,000-fold. Welcome to the Vicky Show, where we're here weekdays, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here on FlyNubianQueenTV.com. We do ask as you come in that you come in giving us a thumbs up, thumbs up. Be sure to like and share. If you have a YouTube page, a social media page, hit that link and share. Let folks know that the Vicky Show is on, family. This elevates and strengthens and unifies the black voice. It causes us to be a force to be reckoned with. The reason why you have presidential candidates talking about our talking points that came from the black grassroots is because the work that we have been doing collectively. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Diller. Follow me on Instagram at Vicky X Diller. That's right, Ramona. Be not weary in well doing. That's what the good book says, beloved. Listen to this. Listen. Go all 12 rounds, family. So I want you to study that interview with Nick and focus on how our open enemy is weakened. And I want you, and I warned you earlier, that they're going to try to retaliate. But black folks, be on guard. While we're sitting here mad at Nick, they know that they took an L with that interview. They know that the fact that Nick even said all of the wonderful things that the minister in the Nation of Islam is doing and how he served with them and served the community. When he sits there and says, why can't these two groups come together? It exposes the fact that they're the ones that's failing to come to the table. There were some losses. There were some weaknesses. There was some fragility that was manifested in that interview. You're supposed to study your opponent, whether you like it or not. Are y'all hearing me today? Now listen. Thumbs up, keep liking and sharing. Watch this. I'm almost done. Watch this. Simon Wiesenthal Center. Take a good look at this picture of this individual right here. Take a good look at this fella right here. Do y'all see this fella? Do you all recognize who this man is? Do you all recognize who this man is? His name is Roland Arnold. R-O-L-A-N-D. Roland Arnold. Y'all know I'm going to connect the dots. I know Vicky looks strange. I know I give it to you in a way that you're not going to get on MSNBC and NBC and ABC and CBS and Fox News. I speak to you on the 3D and the 5D. Watch this. This fellow, keep him before you. What is his name? Roland Arnold. Last name A-R-N-A. Last name A-R-N-A-L-L. Arnold. Roland Arnold. Not Roland Martin. Roland Arnold, right? Watch this. Watch this. Keep it in mind. We're talking about what, the Simon Wiesenthal Center? Listen to this clip, please. Listen to this clip, please. While I'm pulling this up, family, thank you for your patience. While I'm pulling this up, like, share, and subscribe, would you? Like, share, and subscribe.
Brian Ross investigates. Today in Washington, Congress will hold hearings on...
This is from ABC News. This is a clip that was done about 11, almost 12 years ago, family. Who are we talking about? This fellow named Roland Arnold, right? Listen to what ABC News said about him.
Questionable mortgage practices to try and figure out just what caused a massive mortgage meltdown. And while many factors contributed to the crisis, some say one man played a very big role. And joining us is our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross. And we'll get into it a little bit.
Good morning, Robin. This is a story about that man and the thousands of Americans who've gone to court to say he needs to be held accountable. They say he and his company essentially led the way in establishing practices that had a lot to do with the current mortgage meltdown in this country. This sprawling multi-million-dollar mansion in Brentwood, California, is home to one of America's richest men, Roland Arnold, a man who consumer groups say built much of his fortune on the misfortunes of people who had trouble getting mortgages for their homes.
If you're building a Mount Rushmore of people who should be on the face of the mortgage lending crisis, I think Roland Arnold has a distinct place in that litany.
Arnold was the founder, sole owner, and chairman of a company called Ameriquest, which attorneys general across the country have accused of fraudulent, misleading, and deceptive practices in arranging mortgages for hundreds of thousands of American homeowners.
Y'all keep that in mind. Let me connect the dots. Vicky, what does this guy have to do with the Simon Wiesenthal Center? What does this guy have to do with Rabbi Abraham Cooper, who Nick sat down with, the frenemy? The frenemy of Nick. Nick didn't know this, who he was sitting down with. What does this have to do with anything, Vicky? Where are you going, Vicky, with this? Where is this lady with the curly braids slinging it all over the place, screaming at us? Where are you going with this, Vicky? Well, here's where I'm going. Nick Cannon's new mentor, Rabbi Cooper's subprime mortgage roots. I'm reading to you now from an excerpt from the book, How White Folks Got So Rich. Shout out to my moderator, who's got the link in the chat for you in just a minute. I'm reading an excerpt from the book, How White Folks Got So Rich. It says, con artists had a field day when they realized they could prey on Black people's desire to enjoy the American dream of home ownership. The subprime mortgage scam involved a cross-section of white financial firms selling high-rated but bad risk bonds to investors with promises of huge gains. Financial predators with prominent names like Bank of America, Ameriquest, and Countrywide steered Blacks into high-interest mortgages and overpriced homes. The companies bundled these fraudulent mortgages and armed with stellar ratings from prestigious credit rating firms like Moody's and Standard & Poor's successfully marketed these investments all around the globe. Watch this. The predictable collapse of the housing market in 2008 and the torrent of foreclosures in Black neighborhoods served to transfer billions of dollars from Black pockets to white. Did you guys know that that's one of the greatest transfers and theft of Black wealth during the 2008 Great Recession? Your sister Vicky was subsequently targeted for my activist work. Even though I was not a professional, I was not a mortgage broker, I was not a real estate broker, I was an investor. And I started to smell a rat. Somebody talk Black to me. And you see how I am here on the Vicky Show on FlyToTheQueenTV.com. Imagine how I am in real life. So your sister who didn't know a whole lot, but that just had the spirit, began to ask some questions. I began to move and shake some stuff without the assistance of an attorney or training legally. And I started to make them nervous. And I became a target when I started to ask questions, highlight stuff, make phone calls, show up, set up meetings. And then eventually your sister started to make the news. And then I began to make powerful entities very angry. And I've got the internal receipts to show, beloved, that they were actually sitting there watching your sister. I know all too well about the modern COINTELPRO. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Listen, thumbs up, keep liking and sharing. Again, I'm reading to you from an excerpt from the book called How White Folks Got So Rich. I'm talking to you about a man named who? A man named who? Roland Allen. Is that right? Arnold. Arnall. Watch this. It says, again, that the torrent of foreclosures in Black neighborhoods served to transfer billions of dollars, where? From Black pockets to white. No high-level Wall Street bankers did time for a clear conspiracy that went as high as the White House. Y'all ain't ready for this. And it's estimated to have cost America between $6 to $14 trillion. Somebody put 6-14 with the T, trillion. The market collapsed. Watch this. Produced both the largest setback in Black wealth since the transatlantic slave trade. Shout out to you, Sweet Tea, for your generous $100 gift. I bless it 1,000-fold. Thumbs up, family. Keep liking and sharing. Watch this. What did I say? It produced the largest setback in Black wealth since the transatlantic slave trade and an explosion of white multimillionaires. I said, and an explosion of white multimillionaires. I said, and an explosion of white multimillionaires. That's who your sister was blowing the whistle on. And they tried to shut me up. Listen. Blacks and Latinos were more than 70% more likely to lose their homes to foreclosure, with Blacks losing about 240,000 homes to foreclosures. Latinos, about 336. Listen, the nation's largest subprime lender was Roland E. Arnold. Who's Roland Arnold, family? Keep listening. Who became a billionaire with Ameriquest Mortgage by funding almost $75 billion in subprime loans. That was the trick loans that they put us into. Watch this. Y'all play too much. Y'all play too much. Like the infamous swindler, Bernie Madoff, Arnold, Arnall, y'all ain't ready for this, was known as a major supporter of Jewish causes. Y'all know I'm going to connect the dots for you the way I know how to do it. The best I can. Y'all know I don't pretend I'm more than I am. I know they don't think nothing about Vicky, except for MSNBC and CNN. You know, they like to Y'all know about my haters that watch the Vicky show. For some reason, they watching the Vicky show. Watch this. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like and share. What did I say? Roland Arnold became a billionaire with AmeriQuest. He funded $75 billion in subprime loans. Like Bernie Madoff, Arnold was known as a major supporter of Jewish causes. Are y'all ready for this? Nick didn't know he was sitting down with this man with all this baggage. He was co-founder of the Simon Wiesenthal Center in 1977. Don't play! The weasel. I'm sorry. The rabbi from the Simon Wiesenthal Center. What did I say? What did I say about who this Arnold was? What did I say about Arnold? Mr. Roland Arnold? I said he was the co-founder of the Simon Wiesenthal Center in 1977. And for many years, he chaired its board. He was the largest contributor to President George W. Bush and was appointed by him to be the United States ambassador to the Netherlands. See, Trump ain't the only trick in town. The breadth and scope of Arnold's crimes in the mortgage scam would bring Meyer Lansky, Arnold Rosenstein, and Bugsy Siegel to their knees. Black families lost 250,000 homes, but Arnold was able to buy the second most expensive home in America in Aspen, Colorado, which he paid $46 million. By 2004, Arnold was number 73 on the Forbes 400 list with a net worth of $3 billion. Amazingly, somebody say amazingly, somebody say amazingly, Arnold, who died in 2008, nor his cohorts ever spent a single day in prison for the black misery that they caused and the theft and the theft and the theft they engaged in. Y'all better talk black to me. Nick didn't know this is the baggage he was sitting to. But y'all send him this link. Arnold sold most of AmeriQuest for an undisclosed amount just before his criminal acts collapsed the world economy, leaving his victims homeless. Listen, I know about that. Y'all play too much. The half of my story ain't been told. Leaving his victims homeless and his heirs billions in ill-gotten gains. Somebody put in the chat, his heirs ill-gotten gains. See, that's exactly what America's her enjoying our free labor, the wealth of black blood and labor. That's ill-gotten gains. And America enjoys her ill-gotten gains. That makes her a thief. And she's mad that we have the nerve to demand it back, some of it back. Listen, thumbs up, thumbs up. Like, share, and subscribe to FlyNewBeingQueenTV.com. Again, if you're watching us on one of our other platforms, you all know that the Vicky Show is aired not only here, but it's replayed and syndicated elsewhere. Thank you for watching us there. And even if you're watching us in another time zone and on another platform, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe wherever you're watching us on. And be sure to check me out at FlyNewBeingQueenTV.com weekdays at 6:30. And on my Instagram page at Vicky X Dillard, and follow me on Twitter at Dillard Vicky. You can also subscribe to VickyDillard.tv. Listen. Leaving his victims homeless and his heirs billions in ill-gotten gains. In Roland E. Arnold, there is no better example of how white folks got so rich. Co-founder of the Simon Wiesenthal Center. Ostensibly involved in major crimes. And so Nick sits down with the heirs of that organization that he co-founded. I gave you all kinds of other receipts, Black family. Let me tell you something. Black family, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that you cannot know the depths of Satan. Some of you all are so quick to say, no, they wouldn't do that. Some of you all are quicker to say what Black folks ought to be doing and the responsibility you think that we ought to take. When you've got a 465-year chasm, space in between us and them. You can't know their depths. of evil, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. These frenemies. Nick didn't know that's who he was sitting down with. And may I tell you, that's the danger, Black family, when you cut yourself off from other Black intelligent people and organizations. That's the danger, because you will have a seat by yourself thinking that you know better. God, today, some of you think you know so much. Some of you think you know so much. Nick meant well when he sat down with him. That's why we're not beating him up. But this is also the very reason why this man is trying to dictate Nick not hanging out and not having any connections with the Black elders. Because the Black elders have been on, they've known the truth about these types for some time now. Are y'all hearing me today? I got to get ready to go, Black family, to get ready for my mastermind class tonight. ClubVicky.com. If you want to still join us, ClubVicky.com. It's going to be something that's ongoing. I got to get ready, and I got to do some medical stuff first. I want you to know that in this war, Black family, whether you believe it or not, the longer you take to come to the conclusion of the nature of the enemy that you're dealing with, your slowness. Y'all put some turtles in the chat. You wanting to be a teenage mutant ninja turtle. You wanting to be a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Your slowness to get this revelation is what's causing unnecessary Black casualty. Our collective unity, our collective intelligence will give us the advantage. Don't be so quick to take the word of those that are responsible for your destruction. Don't give your ancestors and elders the middle finger. Thank you for putting the turtles in the chat. I do not know why YouTube is stopping some of y'all's turtles from showing. This is important, family. I told you the other day that there was going to be a backlash. Y'all better hear me today. Thumbs up, thumbs up. I gotta go. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Keep liking and sharing. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Thumbs up, like and share. Listen. Number one, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all of the social media platforms with them slandering us and the minister. We need to demand of them. And these are actionable things that you all can do. We need to demand of them that those outlets that are putting that out be held accountable for anti-Black racism. I want you to understand that the rabbi, believe it or not, weakened himself. That rabbi has angered other white supremacist people and organizations. Mark my words. Y'all, it's worse than you think. It's not just about how Nick looked. I'm telling you, it exposed some of their weaknesses if you study it right. I'm warning you now, there's going to be a backlash. Why? They're going to begin to change. I told you this yesterday. When they're dealing with death, when they're dealing with Black destruction, I'm talking about whether it's the death, the assassination of one's character, or a literal attempt to do one, whoever they may be. I'm not just talking about necessarily just that organization, but white supremacists in general. If you change the means, if you change the name, number one, of white supremacy and how they're used to doing their methods, and then you change the means by which you administer Black destruction, you can get away with it. Like family, we got to be on guard. If you call it something else and you change the means by which you administer it, you can get away with murder sometimes. Are you hearing me? They're going to try to go after more Black folk. They're going to have more Black bootlicks and Sambos coming out, and Bones and Biscuits and Aunt Jemimas and the Helps. It's going to be an onslaught of them to try to humiliate us and to dog out. I want to encourage you, hold the line. I said, hold the line. I've told you this many times before from the book of James. It's written in the book of James. It's a principle that we need to consider. It says, resist the devil. And what will happen? What did I say? What does it say? It says resist. There's a principle that we need to learn from that. Resist the devil. And he will flee. The reason why Minister Farrakhan receives disproportionate attacks is not that nobody else gets attacks. I said the reason he gets disproportionate attacks is because he's identified the root of white supremacy. Don't lean on your own understanding as one individual Black person because you came into the knowledge of something. Let me tell you something about knowledge. As a 41-year-old woman that remains a forever student, there is a such thing as having mental or speculative knowledge. Y'all talk Black to me. Thumbs up, family. Like and share. There's a such thing as having speculative knowledge or head knowledge. And then there's a such thing as having experiential knowledge. God, today. There's a speculative or a mental, a head knowledge. But then there's another type of knowledge that's experiential. In your mind, 15-year-old, you may think you know how to drive a car. I've watched mama and daddy this whole time. All they do is turn the steering wheel. All they do is with the foot, they hit this, the accelerator here and the brakes right there. All they do is turn. How hard could that be? Somebody say, watch this. Until you get behind the wheel and feel the weight, God, today, of the machine that you are driving. You're going to have to get some experience and get used to the other conditions and the other variables that exist in driving. You can perfect it, but you're not quite there yet. And so there is safety in numbers. There's safety in counsel. Not with the bootlicks, not with the Aunt Jemimas. Notice how the bootlicks and the Aunt Jemimas in media, they're quiet about what's going on with Nick and Minister Farrakhan and Ice Cube and Diddy and Deshaun Jackson. They're quiet. If you missed part 1 of my show from yesterday, make sure that you watch it, that you rewatch it, and that you watch it again, and that you send it to everybody. If you came in today and you didn't watch everything from the beginning, watch it from the beginning, and then rewatch it over the weekend. Very important. The big Black brain. Shout out to you, Kim, my dear sister, who supports me privately, personally, and this network. Kim says, love you, sis. Holy Uprising 2020. Hold on, Black family. Y'all, shout out Kim. I love her so much. And she is such a blessing to this network, whether you know it or not, and others like her. Thank you so much, my dear sister. Family, I love you to pieces. I got to go. I came to you in peace. I leave you in peace. Don't forget flynubianbusiness.com. If you want to learn how to build a Black business, go to flynubianmoney.com if you want to learn how to invest. Make sure, family, that you follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Follow me on Instagram at Vicki X Dillard. Vicki X Dillard. And also, family, be sure to check out and subscribe to VickiDillard.tv. That's VickiDillard.tv. I told you in the upcoming days, inshallah, I plan on going in about some of these, one of these other books that the rabbi mentioned when I played it for you on yesterday. We're not going to beat up on our brother Nick. When the scripture talks about turning the other cheek, see, we're not going to do that with our open enemy, but we'll be willing to do it with our brother. Are y'all hearing me today? Understand that Nick Cannon was conscripted into this war. That means that God will allow you to be compelled. Baby, there's wars where you have to be drafted sometime. You may not want to go fight. God, today. That's what's happening. Some of you all are mad because you were trying to build your kingdoms in Babylon that's fallen. But you don't understand that the promised land will be so much better. It's going to take some work. It's going to be messy, just like labor is messy. Labor is painful. Labor is bloody. But labor is birthing a new being into existence. And that's exactly what's happening with the Black family. This is labor pains. Vicky's show is not all gory and all about trouble. It's about hope. I'm here as your spiritual midwife to tell you to push, to breathe. You're getting ready to build a brand new world based on freedom, justice, and equality. Love you to pieces. Vicky X Dillard on Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's my privilege, it's my bliss, and it's my honor. I bow to you because you are extraordinary and special people. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Ma'at hotep. Namaste. Free the land, beloved.